One of the questions I get asked pretty regularly, particularly from people I've coached or from people who have attended shy bladder workshops, is how do I practice on my own? Well, the good news is there are opportunities to practice everywhere. We just may not notice them. Because if you've lived with shy bladder for a long time, you've probably gotten really good at doing the opposite, avoiding them. You know which bathrooms you don't like. You know which places you won't go. Maybe you make sure you pee before you leave the house so you won't have to use a public bathroom at all. I certainly did all of those things. So one way to start practicing on your own is to begin looking at some of those bathrooms differently. You don't necessarily have to start with the most difficult bathroom you can imagine. In fact, I often suggest starting with public bathrooms that are more within your comfort zone. Then gradually work towards situations that are more challenging for you. And there are a couple of different ways you can approach the practice. Sometimes you might set aside time specifically to practice. You can replicate graduated exposure by making a number of attempts during one practice session, gradually increasing the difficulty. Other times, practice can simply become part of your day. Maybe you don't pee before you leave the house, so that when you're out and about and you have some urgency, you have an opportunity to try a public bathroom. And once you start looking for those opportunities, they're everywhere. Fast food restaurants, big box stores, hardware stores, hotels, shopping malls, gas stations, airports. Really, almost anywhere there's a public bathroom can potentially become an opportunity to practice. And here's something I find interesting. If you've lived with shy bladder for years, you may already know exactly where a lot of these bathrooms are. You've just been thinking of them as bathrooms to avoid. What if you started looking at some of them as places to practice, not places where you have to prove you can pee, not places where every attempt has to be successful, just opportunities to practice. Start somewhere that's manageable for you and build from there. And remember, a non-judgmental no-go can still be part of the practice. You made the attempt. Pat yourself on the back for that. Then you move on to the next one. I'm Michael Hurd, the Shy Bladder Coach. Thanks for watching.